Hey everyone, it's Triple Mango Threat, and today we're going over the best commanders to build on a budget. If you'd like to purchase any of these decks, they're all going to be in the description down below if you want to check them out. Starting with Odric, Lunarch, Marshal. He cares about keywords, but more specifically, First Strike, Flying, Death Touch, Double Strike, Haste, Hexproof, Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, Reach, Skulk, Trample, and Vigilance. Why these words are so important is because when one of our creatures has these keywords, now all of our creatures are going to have them as well. But this is only during each combat, so even our opponent's combat. So with cards like Battlefield Raptor, Ginger Brute, Sacred Cat, and Segovian Angel, we get a lot of keywords for only 1 mana, and Aurdric will love these creatures. Zatalpa is a great example of a lot of keywords for just one creature. It is 8 mana, but each of our creatures get all of these abilities when we have our commander on the battlefield. So this will make Aurdric a huge target. So cards like Darksteel Mirror will give Aurdric and all of our other creatures indestructible. Mask of Avacyn is another great way to protect Aurdric, giving him hexproof as well as our other creatures. Talrand Sky Summoner. Talrand cares about instants and sorceries, because whenever we cast them, we're going to get a 2/2 Blue Drake creature token with flying. So when we cast a counter spell, we get the added bonus of a 2/2 flyer, or really any removal spell we use. We make more tokens with Murmuring Mystic, and this time it's a 1/1 flyer, but still all of these tokens are going to add up. And Favorable Winds will give our creatures with flying +1/+1, so now we have 3/3 Drakes and 2/2 Birds just for 2 mana. Arcane Melee, Jace's Sanctum, and Naid of Hidden Coves. These will reduce the mana we spend on our instants and sorceries, which is exactly what we'll be casting. And we'll get to scry one with Jace's Sanctum. Naid of Hidden Coves will only reduce the mana of our spells if it's not on our turn, so this will work on instants unless we have spells with flash. And ultimately, we can win the game with Stormtide Leviathan. For 8 mana, we get an 8/8 Leviathan, and all lands are now islands in addition to their other types. But creatures without flying or island walk can't attack. This gives us a huge advantage because of all the tokens we're making, and we will easily shut down our opponents if they don't have flyers or creatures with island walk. Shirai, Shizo's Caretaker. Shirai cares about creatures with power 1 or less, which initially doesn't sound powerful at all, but if those power 1 or less creatures are put into a graveyard from the battlefield, we can return them to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step if Shirai is still on the battlefield. Now a quick note, Shirai doesn't specify just our end step, so on everyone's turn we're bringing back our power 1 or less creatures at the end step. So let's talk about the power 1 or less creatures we'll be using to draw cards. Clattering Augur, Dust Legion Zealot, and Skyscanner. When they enter the battlefield, we're going to draw a card, and with some sack outlets and our commander, we'll be able to draw cards on our turn and our opponents. Bloodflow Connoisseur, Bloodthrone Vampire, and Carrion Feeder. What's nice about these sack outlets is that they don't require any additional resources like mana, or they don't have us tap it for only a one-time use. So what I'm saying is, there's no additional cost to sacrifice our creatures, which is very helpful. Dark Privilege is a sack outlet, but it's also an enchantment aura. This can be attached to our commander to help protect Shirai from removal. Exile will get around this, but anything that tries to destroy Shirai we'll be able to deal with. Fallen Ideal is a neat card, and it's also an enchantment aura, and it's a sack outlet that gives the enchanted creature +2/+1 until end of turn when we sack a creature. But when it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, we can return it to our hand, which is very helpful when we need to get a sack outlet, and this is because most of our sack outlets are creatures, and if we don't have our commander to help us get them back, we can easily get behind in the game. So getting Fallen Ideal back to our hand is really nice. Now how we start making a real impact in the game is with our pingers. Falconwrath Noble, Vindictive Vampire, and Zulaport Cutthroat. All of these help us slowly kill our opponents over time, and being able to sacrifice and get our creatures back on everyone's turn helps us speed up this process. Serrated Scorpion and Tattered Mummy. We deal 2 damage to each opponent when they die, so 8 damage in 1 turn, or with both of them, 16 damage in 1 turn cycle. Now like I said, our commander is going to be a huge target, so cards like Blessing of Leeches and Soul Channeling are aura enchantments that do cause us to lose life while protecting our commander, but it won't matter from the loss of life due to our pingers that actually gain us life, and Bottle Gnomes is giving us 3 life on everyone's turn. Burglar Rat, Elderfang Disciple, and Elvish Doomsayer. These are going to make our opponents discard a card from their hand either when they enter the battlefield or if they die like Elvish Doomsayer, so our opponent will have a hard time getting ahead in the game. Yorvo, Lord of Garenbrig. Yorvo is a really powerful commander. He enters the battlefield with 4 +1/+1 counters, and whenever another green creature enters the battlefield under our control, we get to put another +1/+1 counter on Yorvo. Then if that creature's power is greater than Yorvo's, we get to put another counter on Yorvo, so we can end up putting 2 counters on him. Llanowar Elves, Arbor Elf, and Whisperer of the Wild. So even our mana dorks will help us get more counters on Yorvo, and Whisperer of the Wilds will already be able to tap for 2 green mana the next turn because our commander has at least 4 power. We will be drawing a lot of cards in this deck. Abzan Beastmaster lets us draw a card at our upkeep for controlling a creature with the most toughness, or even tied for the most toughness. Colossal Majesty lets us draw a card for a creature with power 4 or greater at our upkeep, which our commander already meets that requirement. Fists of Ironwood. This will make get 2 sapling creature tokens and will give a creature trample. So our commander likes when green creatures enter the battlefield and does not specify non-token, just a green creature. So we get 2 +1/+1 counters on Yorvo, and now he has trample. This is a great card to have, especially for 2 mana. Verdant Forest is a huge creature and it makes us saplings at each upkeep, so lots of counters for Yorvo and potential chump blockers if we need it. Brawn, Nylea's Forerunner, and Pride Malkin. Ultimately we win the game with giving our creatures trample. We have a lot of creatures to trigger our commander getting more counters, and with trample it's very easy to overwhelm our opponents. Atarka World Render. If you love dragons, then this deck is going to be perfect for you. Atarka makes our dragons have double strike, so they're going to be dealing twice as much damage than they normally do. Lathliss Dragon Queen. This is going to give us a 5/5 red dragon with flying whenever a non-token dragon enters our battlefield, which we have a lot of dragons in the deck, so this is a great include. Now with dragons like Scion of Ugin, Steel Hellkite, Shivan Dragon, and Shockmaw Dragon, it can seem a little hard to constantly put out all the dragons, especially when it's only like 1 dragon each turn. So with cards like Dragonlord's Servant and Dragon Speaker Shaman, these are going to help reduce the cost of our dragons and hopefully help us put more dragons onto the battlefield and ultimately kill our opponents with all the dragons we can possibly get. Samut Tyrant Smasher and Kenra Charioteer. While these are not dragons, they do help us give our creatures haste and trample. Crucible of Fire is going to give our dragons +3/+3, which is really +6/+6 with our commander, and that is a lot of damage. Soul of Harvest and Beast Whisperer. Again, not dragons, but we can also draw cards by playing our dragons, and card draw is super important in a deck like this. Colossal Majesty and Drum Hunter. These get us card draw by controlling a creature with at least power 4 or 5 at our upkeep or end step. Imoti Celebrant of Bounty. If you love Cascade or just casting spells for free, you found the right commander. So when we cast Imoti, we get to Cascade, and whenever we cast a spell with CMC 6 or greater, we're going to Cascade as well. So big spells get us huge rewards. So when we ramp with cards like Dreamstone Hedron and Nissa's Renewal, we get to Cascade when we have our commander on the battlefield. Confiscate and Lay Claim. Now I normally would not recommend these cards, but in this deck, it's actually really fun to use. Yes, we're spending 6 or 7 mana to gain control of a permanent, but we also get to cascade off of these, so we could get Urban Evolution, which lets us draw 3 and play an additional land, Shardless Agent, which will let us cascade again, and then we also have cards like Artisan, Kozilek, Ulamog's Crusher, and Eldrazi Devastator. Yes, we do have Eldrazi in the deck, but these aren't anything fancy, but their CMC is really helpful to us because we can end up casting another huge spell. It's like our commander wants us to have insane value, and what normally would be a 1 spell thing is now us paying for 1 spell and getting another spell for free. Ultimately, we can win with Endrace Forerunners. Because of all the creatures we're going to have, it's likely we're going to easily overwhelm our opponents. That, or just get so much value from Imoti that we're going to win that way as well. Thank you all so much for watching. If you'd like to purchase any of these decks, they're all going to be in the description down below if you want to check them out. Thank you to the patrons who help support this show, and you can also become a $10 patron to see your name at the end of these videos and get an exclusive Ultra Sleeve each month. Be sure to comment down below what you thought of this episode and subscribe for more Mango content. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.